Hello, welcome to our video. Today, as you know, we continue talking about adverbs, but we will learn new things. First, let us remember some of the things that you already know. Look at this. Remember that a clause is a group of words with a subject and a verb. A phrase doesn't have both a subject and verb. It commonly has a present or past participle. How do you understand this? I think it is better to see an example. And here you have a clause. After he, the subject, sped, the past tense of speed, after he sped away, he heard a shot. So you see here a subject and a verb. The clause is at the beginning. It has to do with time, answering the question when, and the answer is after he sped away. So here you have an adverb clause, and then you have the independent clause at the end. Remember that since you begin with the clause, you have a comma after the clause. There are some of the things that we have studied up to now. But here we have a phrase. What kind of phrase? An adverb phrase. Let us look at this. After speeding away, he heard a shot. Subject? No, you don't have a subject. Verb? No, you don't have a verb. What do you have? You have a present participle. What is a present participle? It is the base form of a verb in the ing form. Okay? And a past participle? It is the past participle of a verb. So remember that in an adverb phrase, you don't have subject and verb. It is at the beginning here in this example. It keeps the comma, okay, but that is not a clause. Today, we will learn some new things about adverb clauses and adverb phrases. So let us continue. What I have shown you here is a reduction of an adverb clause. You omit the subject, you keep or you change the principal verb to the ing form, and then you have an adverb phrase. You see, no subject, they disappeared, and driving has the same form, ing form. Okay? Be careful. You can reduce an adverb clause to an adverb phrase only if the subject in both clauses refer to the same person or thing. Okay? Look at the example that we have here. Santiago and Maria drove while the children were sleeping. Where is the clause? Where is the adverb clause? It is here at the beginning, at the end. It starts with while, okay? What is the subject of the adverb clause? The children. What is the subject of the independent clause? It is Santiago and Maria, okay? So you cannot reduce the clause to an adverb phrase. Look at this. Imagine I insist and I do it. Then you would have Santiago and Maria drove while sleeping. So they were sleeping and they were driving at the same time, and that is not possible. That is illogical. Okay? So you can reduce adverb clauses to adverb phrases only if the subject in both clauses refer to the same person or thing. Something else. Note, an adverb phrase can come first or second in the sentence. When it comes first, we usually place a comma after it, just like when you have an adverb clause. Look at this. While driving, they were attacked by bandits. What is it? This is an adverb phrase. No subject, and the principal and the verb is in the ing form. Okay? While driving, they were attacked by bandits. You have the comma, and look at the other one. When the phrase is at the end, they were attacked by bandits while driving. No comma. Now, Adverb clauses beginning with after, before, since, and while can be changed to adverb phrases when the clause has no form of be. Just omit the subject pronoun and change the verb to its ing form. Keep the subordinating conjunction and the original punctuation. Look at this. After they visited El Tazumal, the tourists drove north. Subject of the adverb clause, they. Subject of the independent clause, the tourists. Okay? They are the tourists, the tourists are they. We're talking about the same persons. Okay? So it is possible to reduce it. You have the clause after they visited El Tazumal. You have a comma here. Okay, you know the rule. And when you reduce it to a phrase, you omit the subject, and then you have this verb in the ing form. Okay? And you keep the comma. After visiting El Tazumal, the tourists drove north. Now let us go to what is called the grammar presentation. And let us review some of the things. Reducing adverb clauses of time to adverb phrases. Look at this. While they were in Italy, they had trouble. Here you have the verb be. Okay? What do? Look at the adverb phrase. You omit the verb be. There is no verb in the ing form, and then you just say, while in Italy, they had trouble. What is it? It is an adverb phrase. It is telling you when. It is answering the question when and while in Italy. No subject, no verb. Okay? Now, look at this. When I am traveling, I keep a journal. I want to reduce it to another phrase. What do? I say goodbye to the subject, and then the principal verb here is kept or is changed to the ing form, and then I say, when traveling, I keep a journal. Okay? Now, let us look at the other one. When Sue is traveling, I keep a journal. What is the subject in the adverb clause? It is Sue. And what is the subject in the independent clause, in the main clause? It is I. Can I reduce it? No, because here you have different subjects. So it is not possible to reduce it. Now let us continue. Changing adverb clauses of time to adverb phrases. Look at this. Before we left, comma, we visited Rome. Subject, we and we. So it is possible to reduce it. Okay? Now, what do I do to reduce this adverb clause to an adverb phrase? First of all, I omit the subject. Okay? Second, the principal verb goes to the ing form. Let us see what we have here. Before leaving, no subject. And the verb was in the past tense, and now it is in the ing form. So I say, before leaving, we visited Rome. Okay? Now, can we consider this a verb? It has a special name. Remember? What is it? Yes, it is a present participle. Okay. Now, let us look at the other one. Before Anne left, We visited Rome. Before and left, we visited Rome. Subject, an. Okay, in the adverb clause. Main clause, we. Can we reduce it? And the answer is no. You see, it is not possible. Now, let us see another example. After they had investigated, the police identified the killers. Again, after they investigated, the police identified the killers. What is this they? That is the police. Okay? It is plural, and they is plural. We are referring to the same persons, so we have the same subject. Now, what do I do to reduce it to an adverb phrase? We omit the subject, they, and then the principal verb is changed to the ing form, and then we have after investigating, comma, the police identified the killers. Okay? Now, let us look at this one. When they heard Greg speak, many Italians were moved. When they heard Greg speak, many Italians were moved. And here we can make a little change. We can have on hearing or upon hearing or when hearing Greg speak, comma, many Italians were moved. Okay? You omit the subject as usual, and you change the principal verb to the ing form so it becomes a present participle. But there are some other things to see, and here you have it. Look at this. While they waited at the hospital, they were deeply troubled. While they waited at the hospital, they were deeply troubled. What do we have here? While, yes, it is telling me it is an adverb clause, the subject they, and the principal verb in the simple past form. I want this. I don't want to use an adverb clause. I want this changed to an adverbial phrase. What do? I omit the subject and the principal verb is changed to the ing form to make a present participle. Let us see what we have here. Waiting at the hospital, they were deeply troubled. No subject, no they, verb in the ing form, but something else has disappeared. What is it? It is the introductory word, okay? So something that you can remember, something to pay attention to is that it is also possible to omit the introductory word, while and when. So I can say, waiting at the hospital, they were deeply troubled. Were waiting, they, okay? Waiting at the hospital, they were deeply troubled. Now let us look at an example using when. When they heard the news, they decided what to do. Subject of the adverb clause, they. Verb, heard in the past tense. I want to change it to an adverbial phrase. What do? I omit they. I change heard to the ing form. And what do I do with when? Can I omit it? Let us see. Look at this. Hearing the news, they decided what to do. Okay? So, what is the thing to remember? It is possible to omit the introductory word. Okay? Now, we have another slide. Remember that we're studying how to change adverb clauses to adverbial clauses, but here we have another kind of clause. It is an adverb clause of reason. And since we are giving a reason, we use as, because, and since. Okay? As he saw the guns, he chose to flee. Yes, better to go away, he said, to be alive. As he saw the guns, he chose to flee. Subject, he. The same subject, yes. Principal verb, saw, in the past tense. We know that we change it to the ing form to make a present participle. Okay? Now, what happens when we change it to an adverbial phrase? Look at this. Seeing the guns, oh yes, the principal verb in the ing form, and the subject has disappeared. Seeing the guns, he chose to flee. What happened to the introductory word as? It disappeared too. Okay? Now let us see the other example. Because they were unable to catch him, the pursuers fired several shots. Subject, they. Subject, pursuers. Okay, they are the same thing, so it is possible to reduce the clause. Principal verb, the verb be in the past tense. Okay, what do we do with the subject? It disappears. What do we do with the verb? It becomes, or we change it to the ing form. Okay, now let us see what we have here. Being unable to catch him, the subject they disappeared. The verb were in the past tense becomes ing, being. And what about the word because? It disappeared too. Okay, so I just say, being unable to catch him, the pursuers fired several shots. Something else that we keep, remember, is the comma. So whether we have an adverb clause or an adverbial phrase at the beginning, we keep the comma. Okay? And in the other examples that you have here, look at this. Having been to Bari, I hope to return, accused by the police. In both cases, because and since disappears. Okay, that is something that you have to remember when we are dealing with adverbial phrases. But here we have something new, and I want to point it out. Look at the last one. Since they were accused by the police, comma, they had to appear in court. They. Okay, so I am sure it is possible to reduce the clause. But look at the verb, were accused. We know that the auxiliary verb disappears, and we know that the principal verb is changed to the ing form. But look at this. It is not in the ing form. And I've been saying that the verb changes to the ing several times. Okay, I have said that several times. And here, what happens? What is the difference? Can you tell me? Since they were accused by the police, they had to appear in court. Since they were accused by the police, they had to appear in court. What is the difference? Ing, ing, but not here. Do you have the answer? Yes, you were right. What kind of structure do we have here? We have passive voice, okay? Passive voice. They were accused, and the agent or the doer by the police. So when you have a passive voice, then you don't change it to the ing, you just keep the past participle. Okay? Now, we have finished our grammar presentation. We have come to the end of our lesson. I hope you found it interesting and useful. Remember, in case you are in doubt, ask your tutor or your classmates. That would be all for today. Bye.